For decades, we've had this incredible dream of humanity becoming a multiplanetary species, setting up shop on Mars. It's this grand, amazing vision. But when you get past the cool rockets and the habitats, there's a much, much more fundamental question we've got to answer if we ever want to stick around for good.
I mean, really, could we actually sustain ourselves up there? Could we take that iconic, barren, red landscape and make it green? It's the ultimate survival challenge when you think about it. And, well, the answer is complicated.
Yeah, because that whole dream of Martian farms, it runs smack into a really harsh, really toxic reality. See, to figure out how we might one day have a feast on Mars, we first have to deal with the poison that's literally lurking in the dirt. And that is where we have to begin. All right, so let's get right into it. The number one obstacle, the big showstopper, it's not what you probably think. It's not the freezing cold or the super thin atmosphere. Nope, it's the very ground a colonist would be standing on. Okay, first thing you need to know is that Mars doesn't really have soil, not like we have here. Earth's soil is a living thing, right? It's jam-packed with organic matter, nutrients, a whole ecosystem. Martian regolith, on the other hand, it's basically just really, really fine, crushed-up volcanic rock. It's sterile, has almost no nutrients plants can use, and, as we're about to see, it's dangerously toxic. So let me introduce you to the main villain of our story, perchlorates. These are basically toxic salts, and here's the kicker. Our landers and rovers, from Phoenix to Curiosity, have found them everywhere. The entire surface of Mars is steeped in this stuff, at concentrations up to 1%. And for any kind of plant life, that's a death sentence. And I'm not exaggerating. The results when we try to grow things in it are devastating. It's not like the plants just struggle a bit. In one study using a soil simulant with realistic levels of perchlorates, they planted 120 tomato plants. Every single one was dead in under 2 weeks. Just total annihilation. And if you think that's bad, it actually gets worse. Another study didn't even look at survival. They just wanted to see if seeds would sprout. So they took things like common beans and green amaranth, and what percentage of them even managed to germinate? 0. A big, fat 0. The poison didn't just kill the plants, it prevented them from ever even starting life. Oh, and the perchlorates don't work alone. They have this nasty side effect where they actually help release other toxic heavy metals from the regolith. So it's a whole toxic cocktail. It's this 1-2 punch that makes Martian farming seem almost impossible. But scientists, they just love an impossible problem. So this brings us to the first major strategy. If the dirt is poisonous, well, can we clean it? Can we actually detoxify Mars one future farm at a time? And what's so brilliant here is that the solution is completely biological. The idea is called bioremediation. Think of it like hiring a microscopic cleanup crew. There are these specialized bacteria on Earth, like Azospira oryzae, that have a really neat trick. They can basically breathe perchlorate. They use it for energy. So the toxic perchlorate goes in and out comes harmless chloride, like in table salt, and oxygen. It's nature's own filtration system. But cleaning the soil is just one way to tackle this. What if we can't get it perfectly clean? Well, the next idea is to flip the whole problem on its head. Instead of fixing the soil for the plant, maybe we can fix the plant for the soil. Now we're wading into some serious high-tech, science fiction level stuff. We're talking about gene splicing, creating designer plants. The basic idea is to take a regular crop plant and give it a whole suite of survival upgrades, borrowed from some of the toughest organisms on Earth. So how does that even work? Well, you find an organism that's already solved part of the puzzle. To handle the intense Martian cold, you could borrow a gene from a microbe that just loves living in the Arctic. To deal with all the extra UV radiation, splice in a gene from a plant that grows way up high in the mountains. You can even borrow genes from organisms living in deep-sea vents to handle internal stress. You're essentially building a super plant, one genetic superpower at a time. Okay, but even if you manage to clean the poison and engineer a super plant, you've still got a massive problem. You're trying to grow in crushed rock. And that leads us to the third and maybe most critical strategy. We have to make the Martian regolith come alive. Because it turns out the toxicity is only half the battle. The other half is just straight up malnutrition. The Martian regolith has minerals in it, things like phosphorus and potassium, but they're all locked up in a rocky form that plants can't absorb. It's like the pantry's full, but all the cans are sealed shut.
We need a can opener. And you can see this so clearly in that tomato study. Look at the chart. The plants in just the plain, clean regolith, they were stunted, barely grew. Add some helpful microbes and they do a little better. But then look what happens when you add a liquid nutrient solution directly. Boom, the growth just explodes. This proves that once the poison is gone, the real limiting factor is just a lack of available food. The goal then is to use microbes, bacteria, and fungi to do that work for us, to be our can openers and unlock the minerals already there.
So where does all this leave us? Well, not with one single, easy solution. It leaves us with a pretty clear, multi-pronged strategy for actually turning the red planet green. So the key takeaway here is there's no single magic bullet. Perchlorates are the main deadly problem. And to beat them, you need to come at it from all sides. First, you have to detox the dirt. Use that microscopic cleanup crew. Second, you have to engineer the plant. Give it the genetic armor it needs to survive. And third, you have to build a living soil, recruiting an army of microbial partners to create a nutrient-rich foundation for life. It's a huge, complex challenge, no doubt about it. But by combining biology, genetics, and ecology, that dream of a Martian farm, it suddenly doesn't seem so far-fetched. And it leaves us with a really fascinating final question to ponder. If we actually pull this off, what will be on the menu for those first Martian colonists? What will that first historic meal on another planet actually be? Definitely something to chew on.